Justice Dana, a lot of people have asked, since it was Verrill, Dana, Walker, Philbrick, and Whitehouse, what your relationship was, if any, with the Dana that was already there.
For the first 15 years of practice, I told clients that I was really unrelated to the Dana, in the hopes that people wouldn't think that I had gotten the job because of my name. And after 15 years, a large number of them assumed that I was the Dana, Verrill and Dana, so I stopped telling them that I was not.
When I came to Maine in 1981, Ronald Reagan had just gotten elected. Howard had been his campaign manager in Maine. And he had just been appointed to the National Board of the Legal Services Corporation.
During Howard's tenure on the board of the Legal Services Corporation, both President Reagan and Attorney General Edward Meese decided that the Legal Services Corporation should be terminated. But having put Howard on the board, Howard fought valiantly for the preservation of the Legal Services Corporation. And I don't mean to suggest to you that Howard was the political equal of either Ronald Reagan or Edwin Meese, but I think it's important to know that the Legal Services Corporation is still alive. And Howard played an enormous role in keeping it alive during a time when the President and the Attorney General wanted to terminate it.
When I first became the director of Pine Tree Legal Assistance in 1990, Howard Dana was the person that everybody told me I had to talk to first, to understand the landscape facing Pine Tree and how the legal community in Maine operated.
I think of Howard Dana as one of the most important people who helped to save legal services in the United States.
He was a very successful litigator, had a lot of very important cases during his term as a lawyer, and I think part of his success as a lawyer was why Governor McKernan chose him to go onto the Supreme Court in 1992 or 3.
I think he's an amazing person who has done an awful lot for pro bono legal services in Maine.
In the early 80s, really the only funding sources for civil legal aid were a handful. The Legal Services Corporation, a grant that was going to legal services for the elderly, and occasional donations from generous donors in the community, within the legal community and outside it. And we needed ongoing, regular support to sustain our programs and to grow them and to have a statewide presence.
He started the Volunteer Lawyers Project in 1983 with a grant from the American Bar Association of $20,000 and contracted with Pine Tree Legal Services to run it. And then subsequently the Bar Foundation funded it, and now it's funded by a number of different organizations.
The people involved in the formation of the Bar Foundation realized that there was an opportunity to take advantage of interest that was being earned on bank accounts that lawyers set up for their clients. And the amount of interest is too small to be able to return to the client. And the lawyer can't take that interest because it doesn't belong to the lawyer. And the IOLTA program, Interest on Lawyer Trust Accounts, was devised as a way to aggregate all of that income, all of that interest, give it to the Bar Foundation, and then have the Bar Foundation grant it to civil legal aid providers in Maine, who could then plow it into client services on an ongoing basis.
This effort was in a major way part of the wisdom and efficiency and energy that Howard brought to it in his effort to carry forward in Maine what he had sought to be part of by serving on the LSC.
I'm sure there are many people talking about the stories of the 5 or 7 people, depending on the story, that were instrumental in forming the Bar Foundation, but in every story, he is the first name mentioned. He's the person that really brought everyone together.
It's absolutely appropriate that Howard should be receiving the Muskie Award because of his endless service for the needy in the area of justice.
He is a really neat person. He's nice, he's smart, he's inquisitive, he's caring.
Just very outgoing and very kind and considerate and compassionate.
He didn't have to do any of this. You know, he's a good guy who believes in the principles of equal access to justice and doing the right thing.
Was a clear, obvious choice to use this really important anniversary as a way to celebrate all that he's done for the state of Maine, certainly in ways that are consistent with what Senator Muskie wanted when he launched the legal needs study back in 1990, and with all of the accomplishments since that time.
You know, he did great stuff, and people should get a thank you for that, a big thank you.